It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love football. Let's talk it all out.
You could have said TV movies and Super Bowl. You know, you have it like a Super Bowl, but it's fine. It's fine. My name's Chris.
My name is Mike.
And this week we it is the day of the Super Bowl. LIX, Super Bowl licks, Mike, which is great because we love snacks, and that's gonna probably how we start our show off today. But we're gonna be breaking down the released Fantastic Four First Steps and Jurassic World Rebirth trailers. Got them both.
Yeah. It's like our wish came true where we were so worried last week that this show was going to be weird and awkward because all of the good trailers were going to drop during the Super Bowl, and we're recording like 6 hours before kickoff. But no, we got like two of the biggest trailers that we were kind of looking forward to like days ago.
Exactly. And we'll talk about those. The DCU leans into some animation. We'll get that at the end of the show and more. You know,
Chris, you were mentioning Roman numerals just there, and there's a Simpsons gag in the early seasons where the only reason Bart knows his Roman numerals is because of the Rocky movies, and now the only reason I feel like I know my Roman numerals right now is the Life of a Soda Addict guy on TikTok. Okay. Where he's just this dude. I think we've talked about him on the show before, but if we haven't, he's this dude in Utah that he is like proud to be addicted to like zero sugar diet cola. He buys like 20, 30, 12 packs at a time. Records himself drinking it all in a day.
He bought soda unbroken. Like I used to buy Funkos, so I totally get it.
Exactly, and like weirdly, like he has a wife and kids, and he had a video recently where he was out of the country, so his wife filmed her and her kids going to pick up the soda as well because there was like a good deal going on at his local grocery store. But I bring it up because at the beginning of every video he goes, "The Life of a Soda Addict, Part 32," and then I see the Roman numeral. He types it out in Roman numerals. Wow. So that's where my head's at. So, you know, Rocky movies were done with that. It's about people binging things that they probably shouldn't be drinking that much of nowadays.
Yeah, no, I always find it entertaining whenever the Super Bowl letters spell out something funny like licks, LIX. I'm like, I'm gonna remember this one for a while. That's for sure. So that'll be. I guess next year would make it LX, wouldn't it? But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. The little things you learn online.
But Chris, more importantly, I think we talked about it last week, but I want a final confirmation. Yes. What's in the crock pots this week over in your man cave?
That's right. So I'm doing the meatballs with barbecue sauce and peach preserves. I told Mike that's my secret. I always do that instead of grape jelly. I think it adds a nice little sweet glaze to it. I actually I got rid of the beer cheese, Mike. It was too many ingredients for my little 3-pot crock pot. But instead, I noticed Rotel has a hot and spicy version now, like a ghost. I think it's ghost pepper Rotel, and I was like, I'm gonna do a regular chili cheese, and then I'm just gonna do a hot cheese with Rotel. For the spicy to kind of break that down, and then in the middle is just gonna be just regular. It's one of the Rotels is with meat and one is without because we do have a friend who's a vegetarian. So I wanted to make sure they had options as well for it. So.
Well, that's very nice of you. I went down an impromptu grocery store run last night just because there's a couple things that we needed. And I was like, I wasn't planning on making chicken wings today. But I was like, I'm just going to see what they have. Between the bird flu and it being the day before the Super Bowl, what are the odds that there's any chicken wings over in the meat section? And, of course, there was none. I mean, sometimes you can find like one package left of like the super expensive, like free range, antibiotic free or organic, and it's like $30 for like 2 chicken wings. Those weren't even there. So I had to stoop really, really low and go to the frozen section. And I don't understand. I've only bought frozen chicken wings like twice, and it's been so long since the last time I did it, I forgot. They're gigantic. I've never seen a chicken wing this big before. I opened them up today and I was just like, oh yeah, it seems like they fucking kill turkeys to make these. I don't understand it.
I'm gonna give you a bit of warning. They will shrink because the water in them has frozen and made them look larger.
I mean,
because
I feel like even accounting for expansion, it's wild.
About once a summer, we have people over and I have to buy the frozen chicken wings for the grill, and they usually shrink up quite a bit. More than you think they would. So just if they do shrink, be prepared. If they don't shrink, #blessed, Mike. That's what I'm saying right here. You got the God pack of chicken wings from the freezer section.
Yeah, but I'm also doing something pretty similar to you, where I got the Rotel and block of cheese. I'm only doing half a block in one can because I'm just one man over here. The wife can't have dairy at the moment with the baby in the house right now. And then also doing some meatballs, but you've already disparaged my grape jelly choice.
That's fine.
But I'm going with the grape jelly anyway.
That's fine. I mean, again, it's not it's everyone's personal preference, but I like to throw a twist in. I like the peach. Peach is my favorite flavor of candy, and everything else is my favorite fruit. So, for me, it's a personal preference, but I'm sure it's delicious just the same.
This is a great opportunity for me to ask you and maybe pique the interest of some of our Southern listeners. I know that where you are, Chris, you're kind of like straddling the line between the South and the Midwest. So I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but I just learned about it yesterday on TikTok. It's called Brunswick stew. I don't know if that means anything. Brunswick stew.
That sounds Northeastern. I have to look this up.
Every video that I saw on TikTok of somebody making it, they were all Southern. So I don't know what's going on. I didn't do any further research past.
I've had this, but I've never. It's always just been homemade soup is what we called it. Literally, it's literally the same. I'm looking, it's the same ingredients, and literally it's the same thing.
Yeah, it had corn, lima beans. It had some barbecue meat and pulled chicken in it. But the thing that really made me go, was the first video I saw of somebody making it. They put an entire cup, 8 ounces of ketchup in it.
Oh.
And I was very shocked.
Okay.
That seemed like a lot of ketchup for the amount of stew that I saw them making. And I felt a little bit better knowing after I watched a couple people make it, they were only using some additional squirts of ketchup. So shout out to the people that really love ketchup, because maybe Brunswick stew is for you. It can support apparently a lot of it.
I mean, when I think ketchup and I think of food, it's always meatloaf, right? I gotta cover that meatloaf with ketchup for me. But looking at this, one of the things that my family would put in this that was very unique, I didn't find many other places, was cabbage. They would cook the cabbage in the soup with it, and you would have cabbage in this kind of stew, soup, whatever. Now you're making me miss this. You're making me miss this from growing up, because I don't make it.
I mean, I don't know what happens once you start to get to the latter half of your 30s, but I am in cabbage mode.
Yeah.
I hunt it down. I seek it. When I get the Panda Express plate and there's cabbage in the vegetables, I'm just more cabbage. I want it all. Yeah. It's really good for your gut too. I guess there's sulfur compounds in it, which can be good. But
so I'm a slaw fan.
We started with Super Bowl snacks and addicted to soda, and we've made it all the way to cabbage. Well, I feel like we've made the run there.
So the last two things, I did an impromptu store run last night because I needed to get out of the house. I was going crazy. I ended up getting I had the Ultra Blue Hawaiian Monster Energy, which you had the other day.
Yes.
It's okay. I don't think I'm in love with it, but it's not a bad flavor. I told you, this is something I drink maybe in the summer, when it's warmer out, not when it's
very
40
very summer coated flavors in there. If you threw some Malibu in there, you're going to be playing a dangerous game of caffeine and alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Hawaiian Four Loko at that point. And the other thing I got, Mike, was the Post Malone Oreos, which you shared with me that your mom actually had and shared with you beforehand.
Yes, my mother once won recently a year supply of Oreos. So she's kind of like the Oreo she's like the one you reach out to.
How
if you have
did
any
she get
questions about Oreos. She won it was like a grocery store contest. It was just she's been going to the same grocery store for my entire life. Every
Yeah.
once in a while there's a contest. She, drops her name in the hat, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Guess what, son? A whole year of Oreos."
That's a great thing to win. I mean, I honestly, I'm kind of jealous, and I just imagine her being a card carrying Oreo, like for the Oreos, like just comes in. They're like, oh, that'll be like $5, and she slaps down the card. She's like, not today, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, Post Malone this year. Next year, we want Deborah Oreos. I don't know what that flavor would be. I'm assuming very chocolate forward.
Yeah.
That's what my mom prefers.
Yeah.
So look out for that. Deborah Oreos. My mom's face printed right there on the Oreo.
Most people know I'm not a chocolate person. I don't seek out chocolate, but I will sample the new flavors. And this new Oreo is half golden, half chocolate. I guess cookies, and then the inside is a swirl of caramel cream and
shortbread.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's delicious. I really like these Oreos, Mike. I'm gonna recommend them. My wife was not a fan. She's like, I'm worried about the caramel. I'm like, how's caramel a threat to us at this point? But I don't know. But for someone who doesn't like chocolate, I think everything else kind of balances out over the chocolate cookie. So I can highly recommend that as well.
Man, snacks on snacks.
Yeah,
I finally found the blackberry Dr. Pepper, which I like. I can totally see how somebody would kind of get that cough syrupy vibe to it and not like it.
But you like cough
syrup.
But
I do like it. I do like it, and I like cough syrup for some reason. I'm a little freak.
Yeah, it's fine. We still love you. I also, if you get a chance, I saw the wild cherries and cream Pepsi. I recommend that. We do know that orange cream Coke is coming this month, so keep your eyes open for that, folks, if you want to get into the orange cream Coca-Cola. But yeah, I mean, we're just in a awesome year of flavor. It's the only thing pulling me through at this point. So, but let's jump into the news. We're recording this early because I gotta get up and cook because we got people coming over. First and foremost, Mike, the X-Men movies. They're coming to the MCU. They're threatening us with it. Not in a bad way. I'm kidding, but like they are coming. And an insider, a bunch of rumors, a bunch of insiders with quote unquote scoops this week for clicks. They have said, and I've seen this reiterated, that 3 people are being considered for the upcoming movie, including Harris Dickinson as Cyclops, Sadie Sink, people might know her from Stranger Things, as Jean Grey. And then actress Julia Butters from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Kitty Pryde. So
yeah, I mean, we are kind of weirdly getting to a point where casting rumors could theoretically start to be true. When we heard about them a couple years ago, it's just like they're not even close to making this movie yet. These aren't gonna be it. But I mean, whenever you see a Stranger Things kid in the mix, it feels like sometimes there could be legitimacy to it because I feel like they get cross-pollinated across all of Hollywood.
Well,
it seems like the biggest takeaway from all of this would be it seems to be a younger slate of X-Men.
Yeah, so the rumors are they're shooting for early to mid-20s. And obviously Stranger Things kid, I think she made her debut like what feels like 10 years ago in like Stranger Things season 2 at this point. So like, they're not kids, they're full adults coming into this. But yeah, I think they do this. They look the part as well. I think that kind of leans a little credence to it. But it is good to know that they are focusing on Kitty Pryde. If I'm going to be completely honest, we've seen her in a lot of stuff. I don't remember the last movie she was in. All right.
It's
played by Elliot
It's funny.
Page.
She's almost. Yeah, like in the X-Men comics, she's like weirdly almost the de facto X-Men. It's kind of like you get Wolverine as like your big, flashy, brawling X-Men, and then Kitty Pryde like weirdly pulls a lot of the storylines, I feel like, in the comic books. So to have her like be so absent from the movies is really obvious.
Yeah, and they even, I mean, her powers are pretty straightforward, right? Walk through walls, straightforward. They even had the animated show was Pryde of the X-Men. With Pryde spelled like Kitty Pryde. So absolutely a great time to kind of bring her in. I was trying to think, was she was not in X-Men 97 at all, right? That I can think of.
No, I don't.
I think they focused on Jubilee instead for that role. So yeah, it's great. I think some X-Men are going to be great around that.
I think I always forget that, when we're casting Batman, you always kind of put your hand over their eyes and you judge the jawline and a cowl. I always forget that Scott Summers also has to have like a pretty strong jawline
Yeah.
for his like, his sometimes it's just a visor, it could be like a whole like spandex get up as well, but
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this dude, but he looks like he could make a good Scott Summers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and he can't have a huge head, like right. He can't look weird when he's in the latex or leather outfits covering all the hair. But yeah, I think it's great. The problem is, nothing against the actress, but it was X-Men. I think both Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, the Game of Thrones girl who played Jean Grey last time.
Oh,
In Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. Sophie Turner. I
Yeah,
think?
Sophie Turner. Nothing against her, but I'm like, I feel like the same vibes when I look at this actress. I'm like, oh, I kind of get where they're going with that. So hopefully we can shake that. Moving into another rumor here, Javier Bardem is being eyed to play Mister Sinister and be the main villain of the film.
I really want to see what live action Mister Sinister looks
Yeah.
like. It's such like a BDSM like rooted character.
He's got those
You know,
weird
he-
frills too, like that kind of hold
Yeah.
themselves up.
Yeah, weirdly a character that would have fit right in with the original X-Men trilogy with all of the leather
Oh, yeah.
all around.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they draw info for that character
I-
from. But Javier Bardem is a menacing MFer,
He's a big dude. He's got the voice and like that stare. I always think of the scene in what was the James Bond movie he was in, where he like pulls his teeth out because like he had to swallow the cyanide pill or whatever and it didn't kill him. I'm like, God damn, he is scary. He is really scary. Like whenever he wants to be.
Unfortunately, I don't know why, and I've never even seen this movie all the way through, but I always think of the awful Pirates of the Caribbean movie that he's in
Yeah.
because he's like he has like a very weird like
Yeah.
accent that he adds on top of his own accent to play this pirate.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
I think of that. I also go back to No Country for Old Men, obviously, right? That's been forever ago when he was the villain in that. But then, obviously recently too. Great actor overall. And I do want to say, as much as X-Men Apocalypse is a kick to the face for people who like X-Men movies, when they had guy who played Moon Knight, we have Moon Knight in the episode later,
Oscar
Isaac, they actually did his makeup really well, like the comic books, like the suit and like the visual style of Apocalypse was like on par. So hopefully, like you said, Mike, they actually pulled the Sinister look into this character, right, rather than just a person. What other rumors in this said Iceman will be in this movie, probably Beast as well. It looks like there's going to be like that original X-Men team, right? They're pulling from the people we know. And lastly, the last rumor is that this is not an origin story movie, but the X-Men team will have been around and they are already a team. So, which has been a great approach for Marvel lately. I think, right? Spider-Man did the same. We don't need to see the Spider-Man origins. We don't need to see the X-Men origins. We've done it tons of times. So
Yeah, I mean, technically, really, there really hasn't been any specific origin movies for the X-Men, unless you kind of count like
First
Class
Yeah.
in a way. But it was never really an origin. It was kind of like they were slowly building their way to what X-Men are supposed to be in a way.
But I guess that they put the team together in that one. I guess would be the best. They don't need to. We don't need to see them go recruiting mutants.
Yeah, because it's like the team is an institution that works out of an institute, so it kind of has to be established in time already, But we're all wondering how they're going to bring mutants in. So, we're going to be talking about a trailer about a super team that already exists without much of an origin. So, they're getting used to doing that.
Yeah, and I think the hardest thing with the X-Men and stupid how timeless this is, like the farther we get from like World War II, like the harder it is to bring Magneto into this, right? Like we're gonna be like, he was in an internment camp in World War II as a child. We're about we're 80 years on from that. Like you can't, like, unless they say mutants have an expanded lifespan or something like that and they'll live to be 200, it's going to be really, really hard to rely on that origin story again and again. So hopefully they find a way to do that. moving on. This week, Mike, Captain America: Brave New World will be in theaters. We get to see this movie that has been, I wouldn't say through the ringer. It was mostly produced under the, not the Iger era, the Chapek era. Then was put on hold when Iger came in to retool it for quality, and we finally get to see it hit theaters this week. So
extremely curious what's gonna happen with this, because been a while. Actually, we've never really had a Marvel movie kind of go through this type of production, so we're gonna have a unique opportunity to kind of see what they can do with reshoots.
Yeah, and this will be, I think, the last one of that era. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. I'm pretty sure this was like the last fully complete movie, or almost fully complete movie before Bob Iger returned, and because Thunderbolts is next, and that was made post that. There was no reshoots on that, so.
It's a good reminder because this was supposed to be out last year around.
Two years ago, I'm pretty sure. It's.
Oh, was it?
I'm
really?
pretty sure it's been. I'm pretty sure Brave New World. I mean, it's gone through 2 title changes. It's had a plethora of release dates. I'm actually going to see if I can find the historical.
Because I feel like originally it was a March release at one point, maybe last year. But either way, it kind of.
Yeah, I'm looking here because I think it was. Because it did the reshoots in 23 when they after the writer's strike, with what was they added what's his name, oh my gosh, Giancarlo Esposito,
Gus Fring.
Gus Fring. Yeah, I'm looking here. I don't see the don't see the date here, but yeah, I mean we've seen a lot of we've been waiting for this movie for a very, very long time, so it'll be here. The director, they're out doing obviously the press tours. He's confirmed that adamantium is more durable than vibranium, Mike, in the MCU, and teases that obviously adamantium will become part of Project X and Wolverine in the MCU. He could just be saying that off comic books. He probably doesn't have a longer view than the movie, but it is fun that he understands what the material is kind of along the way.
Mm-hmm. I mean that's kind of new. We're getting an official statement. It's kind of I don't know. Like if I had to go like based on the visual, I mean, I guess we don't know how much of the Celestial is adamantium, right? Is it literally every square like inch of the Celestial is adamantium? Then that's like a whole lot of metal because then it's like gigantic. But if it's like, you actually have to mine inside of it to find it, because we kind of got the vibe that vibranium was kind of hard to get to. It wasn't, they had it, in these 2 pockets of the planet Earth, but like it wasn't super easy to get at.
Yeah, well, it's also hidden. It's hard to hide a big celestial sticking out of the ocean. And adamantium, like we've seen the inside of a celestial being mined for goo and stuff and nowhere in the Guardians movie, so it probably is like it could be maybe like an internal thing rather than an external thing, but we'll know more. We're gonna watch it here Thursday for my family. We're gonna watch it. Honestly, this is a good point to bring up, Mike. I shared with you, I forget what state it was it Massachusetts? They're trying to legalize movie theaters putting the exact time the movie starts, not when the trailers start.
That's awesome. I would love to see that. I just want like a countdown clock in like the top corner that tells me how long I have to like go to the bathroom or get more snacks. And I feel like the movie theaters would like that, more chances to get back out there and spend more money. Right. I almost went a step too far in my head, and I was like, that like clock should have like an API so you can connect it to like your phone and other apps so you can see when the movie's about to start. But I think that's going to enforce bad behavior of people showing up last minute, and I don't want that.
Well, I don't want people on their phones looking at the time either, right? Kind of thing. Like, I keep them off their phones already, but a countdown clock, I think, is one way to do it, and that actually wouldn't require any implementation other than through the the ads program that runs all the ads. So there is that. But yeah, honestly, like I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh, where are movies like at 5 on Thursday? I'm like, I don't have to really get there at 5. I can get there at like 5:15 and still be okay. Because I'm gonna watch all the new trailers today during the Super Bowl, and we don't have to watch them again on Thursday. But I think I agree. I think it'd be a great thing. But speaking of Captain America and Vibranium Adamantium, the producer for Black Panther 3, I believe it's Nate Moore, says that Wakandans will have something to say about adamantium being introduced in the MCU versus their vibranium. And I think that's a awesome plot point I hadn't even thought of, Mike. The two different metals going against each other.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, if you kind of think about it geopolitically, I mean, the reason the Wakandans are so far advanced technologically is because they had this advanced leg up, and they didn't let anyone else have it, and they stayed confined to their bubble. But it does make me wonder, it's kind of like all of a sudden somebody finding a lot of diamonds or a lot of gold. Yeah. It feels like the value of it would kind of drop. So I wonder if that's also going to reinforce Wakanda as a country needing to be more open and like open up trade with other countries, because like, we can't just be isolationists anymore, not just out of ideology, but like, this vibranium isn't as like unique and special anymore because this freaking celestial had to pop up and be better than our stuff.
Well, and if adamantium is more durable than vibranium, that gives it a leg up too as well, right? Because obviously Captain America's shield's vibranium. It was able to be broken by Thanos. Like if they had adamantium in here that is nearly more indestructible or could be vibranium, it's also a threat to them, right? Because like, if again another country wants to be militant, they have adamantium, they could come in here and tear up our defenses. So it's interesting for that. And tied into this is a rumor that Black Panther variants could show up in the next movies, not a direct recast of T'Challa. I think we've talked about this before. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I don't think they're going to recast Chadwick Boseman. If anything, it will be his son being aged up, right? Like that is how they're going to handle this. They may show other variants. I think this is fine. Like, obviously, other variants don't negate the effect of Chadwick Boseman along the way, or his legacy. So I think they could show another variants in the Avengers movies and not have them carry forward and just be like one-off references, right, to different Black Panthers along the way. And the next part is that Ryan Coogler is interested in leaning more into the horror supernatural thriller tone for this next Black Panther 3 movie. And this is kind of goes along with his next film being the Sinners movie with Michael B. Jordan and vampires. Oh my
God. I had no idea about this movie Sinners until I came across a trailer for it, which was actually like, it was like an ad when I was watching something on YouTube. And I was so taken by it within like the first 15 seconds that I didn't like automatically hit like skip ad. And I was like, this looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like just like a powerhouse of like performance and like creepiness and like the tone. And I mean, obviously there seems to be supernatural elements in the movie, but they don't overtly show them in the trailer. So everything still seems mysterious, but yeah. And I don't think if this is based on any sort of pre-existing property. I mean, who knows? It feels like when it's not, it's actually sneakily based on a book that nobody knew about, right?
Yeah.
But it looks like, this is Ryan Coogler finally like cashing in those Black Panther checks of just like, hey, I got to do this for you. Now I'm making this movie for me.
Right.
It looks really sick.
Yeah. And again, a bunch of Michael B. Jordan, the chick who plays not Hawkeye, Kate Bishop is in it. Boy, I'm bad with it's the day I'm bad with names.
Yeah, I was Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, I'm having a bad. Thank you for that. So I think that's obviously if that's true, that's fine. I think the thing with Black Panther is like they do have the spirit realm, right? They do have this tone of, hey, there's other stuff than us, outside of like what you can physically see. So the spiritual. So there could be some of this. And they could go down that. I think a political intrigue for that is way better than I think we saw in Black Panther 2, because it had to deal with a lot of other stuff, and then also like 2 fictional kingdoms. But like if it's adamantium involved, sure, I'm down for that kind of along the way. They'll build it up. Moving into Avengers Doomsday, the movie. There's a bunch of rumors for this. Boy, it's a rumor week. We got like 7 rumors I wrote here in a row. Spider-Man is to have a huge role in Avengers Doomsday, Mike. That is the biggest rumor out of this so far. And
I mean, like I feel like we could just replay a clip from myself every time we talk about Doomsday or Secret Wars of just like anybody and everybody's going to be in these movies.
Yeah.
So like I can believe it on almost any level. You know, it's almost like who are they going to hold back? You know, from Doomsday to save 4 Secret Wars is actually more of the question in my head.
Right, exactly. Kind of like Infinity War and the Endgame, right? They had 2 different teams. That, but the other part of this, the scooper said that he was like, "Oh, I don't know what they're doing with Spider-Man 4 anymore." He's like, "I'm in the dark." I'm like, "Oh, so essentially they're doing something and keeping you from it at this point. Like they're not feeding these guys rumors at this time." So, and the other thing is Spider-Man had a huge role in the multiverse kind of breaking, right, with No Way Home, and him and Doctor Strange. So there is an opportunity to, if they are doing incursions, Spider-Man being a big part of that could be in there. The next rumor is there's a reason that Robert Downey Jr. has that face as Victor Von Doom, so looking like Iron Man. They specifically capitalized the letters that, so we might get an explanation of why it is Robert Downey Jr. rather than, oh, we just wanted to bring it. Obviously they want to bring him back, but like, oh, we just wanted to use somebody like, you know.
Oh
with
yeah,
the name.
nothing. Honestly, if they would have just cast Robert Downey Jr. and never alluded to the fact that they look just like Tony Stark, and nobody brought it up, my blood would have boiled. Because that would have drove me absolutely crazy. Because that would have meant everybody was just an idiot in the movie that they can't recognize that this man looks just like the one that like saved their entire universe.
Right. Especially if Spider-Man is a huge part of it, who was his mentor.
I mean, I swear, if it's a one-off joke, it's almost gonna make me even madder.
I don't think it is.
Like you have to make it part of the story. It's too weird not to do it.
Yeah, and I believe it is. I think it's gonna be one of those situations where it's they've maybe they're amorphous, maybe they're taking the shape to be, you know, not inspirational, but like lead them down that road, but they've kind of given the audience too much information.
Maybe take advantage of these people.
Right.
But is that in Doom's skill set to morph his face?
If it is this Doom and it's a magical based Doom, not necessarily the one we may see in Fantastic Four, it could be. We don't know, because this is a higher level thing. Doom, there's multiple variations of Doom. I don't know. But I want to know what the point is. Like you said, it can't be a one-off joke. It can't be downplayed. It has to be part of it, kind of along the way. Unlike, what was it, Iron Man 2, where they had recast and Don Cheadle showed up and he's like, "It's me, get over it, move on," kind of thing. They can't do that here. So to do that. Last rumor for Doomsday is the plan is not to kill Loki, but possibly bring him off his role as a timekeeper, whatever his title is, from the end of Loki 2, and have a reunion with Thor along the way. So I don't think they have maybe any future plans with him, but Tom Hiddleston's a great grab. All the stuff he's been in has been great. There's he even made, well, he was in Love and Thunder, was he? That's why Love and Thunder sucked, because it didn't have Loki. But I would love to see a reunion with Thor before he is, before they're both out.
Another moment that they have to capitalize on. I mean, those 2 seasons of Loki is some of the best storytelling that the MCU has done, like full stop. And they ended his character in such a good moment where he is doing the ultimate sacrifice, not to just save his friends, but to save everybody. Like, I can't think of a bigger arc of going from like villain who wants to take over Earth to like, I'm going to literally save everybody. Yeah. So, I could see like a really cool moment where all of our heroes have to maybe go to the source of this time tree or whatever, and then Thor's there and it's revealed who this saint is that's saving everybody, and it's Loki. Like, that's going to be a big emotional moment that I'm looking forward to. I hope they don't mess it up.
Well, absolutely, and I don't think they will, because I will tell you, one of the best parts about Infinity War, Mike, is Thor's journey. Right, I will tell you right now, like he met up with the Guardians. He was missing an eye. He had lost to Thanos at the gate. Lost everybody he loved to Thanos, and went on the journey to create the hammer, and like even took the power of a star to create. Like I love his journey in Infinity War so much, more so than Endgame. The weight gain stuff, too jokey, but like I love his Infinity War arc. So hopefully they can keep him as a serious actor, show serious power, and have this full circle, right? From being the brother, with Loki who was selfish, to Loki the selfless, kind of along the way. World War Hulk as a movie is moving forward. We talk about this all the time, so I feel like yes, it is moving forward, and it will probably, or it could play out on Battleworld. And the reports are news will be possibly before Comic-Con in July on this, rather than at Comic-Con. So we may get some more confirmation so they can get production underway. I did look it up, and I remember this. In the Secret Wars comics from 2016, when Marvel canceled their entire lines and renamed everything Secret Wars Battleworld, there is a Planet Hulk thing in there, which is essentially a gladiator-style arena of Hulks, kind of like World War Hulk, but it was less... hey, we're not killing or fighting against the main Marvel characters. So having it play out on a battle world, a Planet Hulk kind of thing, would be probably the best way to do it without having to affect the MCU at large, right?
Yeah, I feel like they would try to avoid maybe the trappings of an arena, because we saw that in Ragnarok. If they're gonna go back to the well of doing that set, I feel like they'd have to find a way in there that's not just rehashing another part of what essentially is kind of a half of a Hulk movie.
Well, yeah, and they were planning to do World War Hulk or Planet Hulk in that movie, like as much as they could, not knowing they might actually get a chance to do it later. So they've got, I think, again, Marvel, I say this every time, like Marvel loves to pull the titles of the comic books, but never the stories behind them. Right. Like Age of Ultron was a time travel movie or a comic book. It was not that in the comic book. So like, what we think, and I think you agree with me one time we talked about this on the show, is that what needs to happen is they need to bring back Hulk Banner dichotomy rather than Smart Hulk. I think the Smart Hulk thing has, like, I wouldn't say neutered, but like kind of just made him not a threat, when the Hulk used to be, oh, when Banner Hulk's out, the Hulk is bad and we don't want that kind of thing. So
it's almost kind of like the MCU has been around long enough to where now they are kind of resorting to comic book story arc structure, where you kind of build them up and then tear them down, build them up, tear them down, just over and over again, like in perpetuity.
Kill him, bring him back.
Yeah. So it's like they're gonna have to like bring Banner back to his roots so he can like overcome the Gamma again. So we'll see what they end up.
Even then, a lot of the newer like Immortal Hulks has shown like like there are multiple Hulk personalities inside him, right? And in the comic books, it's the same way. There was Mr. Fix-It, there's the Gray Hulk, there's Smart Hulk, Immortal Hulk. So like they could lean on not just Bruce Banner and Hulk being a one, like again, I use the word dichotomy. It could be more. It could be multiple personality kind of thing, and lean into that a little bit more. Like, yeah, there is a brutal, savage Hulk in there that he's been repressing, and now that it's out, it's a problem for everybody. And obviously they are leaning more into Hulks. We've seen the Red Hulk. We've seen Hulk's son. We've seen She-Hulk. Abomination even returned in She-Hulk. So like they have the opportunities with enough Hulk powered people. We could see some more World War Hulk stuff play out later. Speaking of multiple personalities, that's a good segue into Moon Knight here. Moon Knight Season 2. The Scoopers are saying that for Season 2 of Moon Knight, look to the movie Memento, the series American Horror Story Hotel, and the short 8 from the Treehouse of Horror XXXIV. Mike, what are those Roman numerals there? I think it's 34.
The Soda Addict, I don't know if they've made it that far yet. So
okay. I think it's 34, but Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, obviously, for Season 2 inspiration. Memento is one of those movies that when you watch it, you have to watch it again because it's told in reverse, essentially, right? Not like, what was the Tenet, which the movie is forward and backwards, but like the mystery is uncovered as the guy has short-term memory loss and doesn't remember 5 minutes beforehand. So really, really a psychological kind of thriller, but also like an interesting way to tell a plot point. I don't know American Horror Story Hotel. but 8 is essentially sounds like 7. The movie 7, so it's probably obviously something to deal with multiple personalities.
Shocker. Are you trying to tell me Moon Knight is going to have to do with his duality of people and memory?
Multiple. Like I know they even tease like the third personality, fourth personality in there.
Mm-hmm.
So a hotel is this is the one with
that's the one with Lady Gaga in it, I believe.
Yeah, and it doesn't have like some of the other cast members. So I was just trying to like, I was trying to figure out what's the gimmick here without reading the whole Wikipedia page. But either way, it sounds like they are moving forward with this. Again, Marvel Television has changed into an actual television production studio rather than movie people running this. So I'm looking forward to this. I think Oscar Isaac is great as Moon Knight. I love the visuals for Moon Knight. When I was looking up images for the show notes, I forgot how cool that show looks. The first one kind of is plagued from the early Marvel TV stuff. It's not the best thing in the world. It's got some cool stuff, but it's a little slow, little wild at parts. Doesn't feel like it's connected, but I'm really hoping they can pull that together for season 2, kind of along the way, right? So, watch those. If you guys, any listeners have anything to tell us about American Horror Story Hotel, do let us know. Last bit of rumor here is that the Strange Academy show series that we've been talking about could be turned into an animated feature instead of a live action series, which kind of got my ears perked up a bit. I thought this would be better animated, if I could be honest, because magic is so much more visually inherent here.
Yeah, feature is the key word there, right? When I was reading this just a moment ago, I thought it was going to say series, and I went, ooh.
Yeah.
Because even though I love animated content, when something is originally supposed to be live action and then gets turned animated, it's like a football team or I guess / soccer team being like relegated.
Yeah.
Of just like, go let somebody animate that. We don't have time for you in our major MCU. But feature, that's a big deal because that means they're trying to develop a strategy that basically slots into the enthusiasm that Spider-Verse has created. So if they want to do that with Doctor Strange and magic, that would be really cool.
Yeah, and knowing that Doctor Strange, we talked about it last week, 2 weeks ago. Doctor Strange may not be a part of this, but bringing in those people and doing this in animation, I think just opens up the visual styles. Like, how much it would cost to do like the Doctor Strange multiverses in like a TV series. Like, I don't think we get it in the TV series. I think animation could really open that up, and obviously. We talked about Marvel looking to do a couple animated features, including Power Pack. So Power Pack, we talked about, they brought up this up being an animated feature rather than live action. I think that'd be fine. Either one of these, like, it sounds like they're aiming for, again, like you said, Spider-Verse age, right? Like teenage, young adult content, animated feature. I think Strange Academy could be visually impressive. I don't know as much about Power Pack. So opportunities, but we'll probably... If they do that, what do you think? They might announce that San Diego Comic-Con, maybe get some more, fine-tuned stuff. Maybe New York Comic-Con at the latest this year.
Mm-hmm.
Vision Quest is still moving forward, and I tried to look up how to pronounce this name, Mike. It's not a misspelling. It's Ruaridh. The last name Malika. Is a gentleman, has been cast in Vision as a series regular called Tucker. He's a younger person. This could be Tommy Maximoff's real name, right? Remember at the end of Agatha All Along, they brought back Tommy into the body of a kid who was drowning. Or the other idea is if Vision is building his own family like he did in the Vision comic series and the 2000s there by Tom King, he could be Vin Vision, the older son of the Vision as a robot.
Yeah. It's kind of cool, like, if this truly is Tommy, that like, we're getting to see what they look like already when it was teased. Yeah, I totally forgot that we got that little clip of that kid like drowning at like summer camp or something like that, and that's where the spirit went. But yeah, I forgot about that cliffhanger. That's fun. I'm looking forward to see how that pays off.
Yeah, and this guy, he looks like he could be like, he could play like an 18-year-old aged up Tommy, right? Kind of along the way. I see it, but obviously at the same time, actors. So they use teen for the other guy to obfuscate his identity. So this one's Tucker. Also, I think it's the cinematographer had something on his webpage confirming that Terry Matalas, who is the showrunner, Christopher J. Byrne, who actually worked on American Gods, and Vincenzo Natali, who worked on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, are directors of the show. So it sounds like this is going to probably be kicking off filming, Mike, in the next month or two for the show.
Yeah, I miss me some Paul Bettany. Love that guy.
Yeah. I want to see what they do with the white vision. I love the white vision look so much. So I know he won't be in the whole time, but I absolutely love it. All right, we are at the fun part of the show, Mike. We have Fantastic Four First Steps. Trailer got released. We talked about it last week. It was out and released this week on Good Morning America on Tuesday morning. It was what they had the link a day beforehand, right? They live streamed for an hour of old astronaut stuff and things they created on this live stream before the trailer came out. Really fun event. Trailer released, and it is definitely, I will tell you this, it is a teaser. Mike, would you agree to that? It is definitely a teaser.
Oh yeah,
of a trailer.
A teaser. Yeah, a teaser in the sense of we're not really getting a lot of plot reveals. You made the point that I didn't even realize, that we saw everyone's powers except for Reed's.
Yep.
It's just some quick glimpses of everything. Like I said, I was expecting one quick glimpse of Galactus, which is what we got. And I wasn't spoiled, thankfully. I did see, we have a link here of a screenshot of all of them kind of on a stage.
Yeah,
together.
The Beatles. That's the Beatles from whenever they were in America on that Ed Sullivan show. It's the same setup.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even really put that together. I did see this screenshot first before I actually got a chance to watch the trailer, but luckily it was zoomed out far enough, and we had already kind of seen those official illustrations of the crew, so I kind of got to see the full reveal of the Thing, which is kind of I would say the biggest meat of this trailer is we kind of really get to see how are they going to tackle this. Is it going to be CG, practical? What's it going to look like? I love my biggest standout of the Thing was the sound design. I love that we just get to hear a little bit of kind of the rocks jingling and tingling when there's a movement. I think that's really fun.
And it's getting played by actor Eben Moss-Backrack, who was in The Punisher, by the way, on Netflix season 1, but is known for being Cousin in The Bear, right? And the first thing he's doing is making food and criticizing it with Herbie. Herbie looks awesome, by the way. I love the tape deck eyes on that, and we didn't hear a voice, so we don't know who's voicing Herbie, but that was really fun to they just started with the Thing. They didn't really hide it. They just opened with it, so we got to see him in his outfit. He's in the kitchen cooking. We get to see him in his trench coat and hat, Mike, out in New York watching televisions like he does in the comic books. It felt like they ripped him off the page. Exactly. That was a really fun vibe. I did put another screenshot in here, so I have screenshot links in the show notes. Reed has a very, very long chalkboard. I also talked about this with someone else. The sets are very the kitchen where the Thing is cooking is very IKEA, right? If you walked into the IKEA where they have the orange and white panels, that feels exactly like that kind of look.
Yeah, it's a very mid-century.
Yeah.
All over this trailer in a great way. It's such a vibe. I feel like the MCU hasn't had much of a chance to build a unique world outside of outer space. So I got to imagine the set decorators were just stoked that this movie came along. And
in the next set we see Reed working in his office, but they actually use it's a wooden chalkboard. It's not fancy technology like Iron Man would use, right? They didn't advance Reed's lab enough to where he's using holographs and touch screens. No, he's using a wooden chalkboard and everything around it's wooden desks and stuff right out of the 60s. But right here, you actually get to see an enter and exit and another universe written on the chalkboard here. So it looks like he may be researching other universes throughout the movie as well.
Or who knows? One thing I've never considered is, there is this theory that all of these characters existed in the mainline MCU, and then they got thrown into this universe and they're stuck. I kind of always assumed that maybe they would try to keep it a secret and just put their heads down and try to just live their life, but maybe they're very public about it. Maybe they Maybe when he lectures to his class, he's just like, well, we're from another universe, and this is how we got here, and we're trying to figure out how to get back.
I don't think so. I'm gonna dispute that because they show a lot of the features in this are them taking off in the ship as humans. Like they literally build up like their space journey like as humans. So I think they came from this universe and came back with their powers. Because it looks like there's even a scene pretty where Reed Richards is holding Susan and she's like fading in and out of invisibility. Like after like maybe they came back to Earth. I've included a shot of the Baxter building being very, very prominent. Like, you know, obviously this is New York. That's not, it almost kind of looks like the Stark building. Like if maybe like this was the past and Tony Stark bought the building and turned it into what he did rather than the Baxter building. That's a huge building thing. But I'm going to go into this, Mike. An actor showed up in this. John Malkovich shows up with long white hair and a big beard. And there are several theories behind this, right? Number one, if you look at him, he's in prison attire, locked behind a building. He's not been able to take care of himself for a very long time, right? Two theories. Number one, or number two, we're going to do the second link that everyone is saying that he is a character called the Red Ghost, which is a Cold War villain from the Fantastic Four who is trying to replicate the experiment they gave the Fantastic Four their powers. And I've included an image from Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer video game where he shows up. And most people are just drawing that line because he is a balding man with long white hair on the sides, right? Typical look. However, this movie is borrowing heavily from the alternate universe called Earth X out of Marvel Comics. Shala Bal as the Silver Surfer. Possibly Franklin Richards and Galactus having something in common. I believe this could be this universe's Doctor Doom, Mike. And I've included Marvel's Earth X version of Doctor Doom, where he has the white hair and beard that you would find in the Earth X comic books.
So we could possibly postulate a Jet Li's The One situation, maybe, where a Doctor Doom from another universe shows up, kills John Malkovich to reclaim more power.
It could be. I'm actually going to posit you. Most people here are listening to us, and you have watched Rick and Morty. You're familiar with the Council of Ricks and their Mortys, right?
Yes, and we should stipulate that was drawn from the Council of Reeds.
Exactly. And in the Council of Reeds, they actually have all their Victor Von Dooms as well. So literally, the Council of Reeds has their Dooms because they're like yin and yang, opposite and opposite. So literally, it could be, I guess you like Jet Li's the one where they come in and kills Doctor Doom. But like, what if maybe this is a Doom from another Earth that has come to this universe and they've imprisoned him or something? I don't know. Like, I imagine if there's other universes, Council of Reeds, multiple Dooms, you know, and the Earth X leaning heavily on the Earth X rather than the Red Ghost. I could be wrong. It's probably Red Ghost. It's probably the easiest answer rather than the most complicated. But I love the idea that it could be a Doctor Doom, and they are pulling in, you know, famous actors to play Victor Von Doom rather than relying on one actor, a la Kang. They don't want a Kang situation, so bring in famous actor John Malkovich to play this version of Doctor Doom. And then maybe at the end, he's killed, or he warns, or he is able to alert Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, hey, these people here, maybe they have an answer, or they're going to become a problem for you along the way.
You know what? We're winning either way because John Malkovich is awesome.
Yes.
So the fact that he's in the movie, we're already off to a great start there.
Absolutely. So love to see that. I'm not much else out of this trailer. I love the score, right, for this. Yeah, there's a little bit of controversy out there based on the first poster having some bad Photoshop. So there's some of that, but overall, this is a teaser trailer. Mike, I'm ready for the full trailer to show up because, boy, I want to see Reed's stretchy powers. I want to see Silver Surfer on this. Have you seen the memes where they use like Galactus's like, you know, dong shadow over like New York because they've been doing
lots of this trailer spawned lots of memes. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Also, I don't want to draw comparisons. This is one of 3 movies releasing in July. The next one we're going to talk about in Superman. This is the most viewed of the 3 trailers so far. That means there is interest in Fantastic Four outside of just, the small Marvel fans. So I'm excited to see people show up for this movie in July, at the end of July when it shows up. Moving on, Jurassic World Rebirth, Mike. We got a trailer, surprise drop for trailer for this. I thought it was coming today. I didn't think they released it, but I think they saw the Fantastic Four trailer and like, shit, we gotta move our release date up a little bit for this. And watching the trailer, they have teased a couple nostalgia points, the return to Isla Nublar and with the original Jurassic Park site, because we get to see the banner and the skeleton, taking place in this movie right away.
Yeah. I have so many feelings about this trailer because I know that there was just rumors and we never should have taken them as fact, but I do feel a little bait and switched where, we were like, oh, this is going to take place in a city, it's going to be called Jurassic City. It's going to be, smaller. It's like, no, they're just going back to an island that we've been to before in another sequel movie. And I think a lot of the issues I have with this is just it being a bad trailer. Like, it almost feels like this is the trailer that they put out like a month before the movie comes out to like sell tickets in a way. Like, it feels weirdly like focused on action and very specific plotting. Like, there's not really much teasery here, I feel like.
It's iconic. It's iconic visuals from the series. The tall grass, the dinosaur tails, like, a couple T-Rexes yelling, people scrambling through the water, and some birds. I was talking with listener to the show, Patrick, about this because I told you, Mike, I'm very whelmed by this trailer. I'm not overwhelmed, but after the 3 Jurassic World movies, I'm not like hyped anymore. Like they feel like this feels like they're pulling all the plot points of Jurassic World, the Lost World Jurassic Park, and some of like Jurassic Park 3, and then doing it again. They're like, hey, we need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs in this area because dinosaurs didn't come and take over the world like we promised they would. Now they're back in the main islands, and we need to get these things because they have like their DNA could solve, world hunger, cancer, or some other problem, right?
Familiar.
Yeah, so we're getting a military crew together to go back to an island. That's Jurassic Park 2. It seems to be there's some sort of family with kids on the island. How did these kids sneak along in all these military missions every time we go to the islands with dinosaurs? We're revisiting DNA splicing, and I thought it looks like a human dinosaur mix, Mike. But it's like, apparently it's a mutant dinosaur that we're going to see. It looks like a Rancor and T-Rex or something.
I'm surprised in the very first trailer they kind of put such clear shots. I know they're not clear, but you can easily freeze frame and just see the whole silhouette and look of the creature. Like, to me, it almost kind of feels like gorilla-esque.
Yeah. It's got the mammal thing. Like the front arms, like kind of like it's walking on 4 legs instead of 2.
Yeah, it kind of feels like this is Jurassic World's like jumping the shark moment. I know the last movie was really, really bad, but it never quite felt like they jumped the shark in a way. They tried to make a world with dinosaurs still interesting.
Yeah.
They threw those locusts in for some weird reason, but like I feel like once you kind of introduce this kind of weird mutation vibe, you've jumped the shark. Now, maybe that's the only way they can take this, right? They've approached dinosaurs in our world from so many different angles. This is all that's left. It's kind of like the Fast and the Furious approach of just like, well, we got to keep going crazy because there's no really room left.
I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say the way they can put this later in the story is weird, but mutants is better to me because I think they didn't learn how to make dinosaurs right the first time, right? Their first DNA experiment didn't make a velociraptor or a T-Rex or brontosaurus. They literally had to experiment dozens and dozens of times. But my concern is if they made this in Jurassic Park 1 30 years ago, how is it still alive? Like, how is it still trapped? Like, hopefully this is a story of how they got to making the dinosaurs rather than, like you said, it's just going forward. We're making more weird dinosaurs because they did that. Like, what was it? Jurassic World 2 was just like was it just a T-Rex with more teeth? And the last one was just a velociraptor with bigger claws. Like, they all look the same. I couldn't tell you which one was which. Put them in a lineup. I'm like, I don't know. They're all dinosaurs. They all look the same. This one at least is visually different than any other dinosaur / mutant, whatever it is we've seen. Hopefully it's not a human dinosaur mix because that's the jumping the shark moment. if it is actually half human, half dinosaur, I'm out. I'm out completely. But I love Jurassic Park. I hope they get some good popcorn buckets, man. This is what I'd love to see from this one.
Yeah, I would say the best part about this trailer is Mahershala Ali gambling. It encapsulates like the fun moment I think is going to be at the beginning of the movie where they're getting a crew together.
Yeah.
And they're just like scrappy, like we're not even supposed to be going here. We're so crazy. No one's going to stop us. It's fun. I've seen it before in movies, but I think it's fun. The worst part out of it, I hate this kind of gimmick that they've contrived of just like, we have to go there because we want to get like, I could see maybe them trying to get sample out of like one specific dinosaur. We got to hunt this one specific dinosaur down to get it. But what's the reason to have to get it from three different dinosaurs?
It's Mario rules. You have to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
There's an air dinosaur, a water dinosaur, and a land dinosaur. You have to get it from all 3.
Yeah, I saw a headline that says that they're comparing this to like a video game of just like, oh, this is like the video game hunt quest. Like, it just feels really weird. Like, why'd you have to make it so like structured? We got to go to 3 different places. Kind of feels like we're inside of like the Jumanji movie. Like, we have to do a video game like trope to get the story done.
Yeah, well,
but I don't know.
Well, we'll see more, but like, of the 3 July movies, this one is at my bottom. It's Fantastic Four, Superman, way up there. Then Jurassic World is not something I feel like I have to go to the theaters for anymore. Like, I do not feel the need to go in and sit down and watch these. I would have wished if it was truly a rebirth, it would have been very different than what we're seeing here. I know they're leaning on some nostalgia scenes. Oh, Mahershala Ali's got the flare. They can only see the flare, Mike. They're gonna chase the flare, not the people in front of them. I'm like, yep, done that before. So hopefully we're wrong, and it's just a trailer pulling the wrong parts to tell it together, like you said. Like, it's just a bad trailer, and maybe there's something actually more to this, kind of down the road. But, oh well. Moving into DC, speaking of Superman, the Authority movie, Mike, is rumored to be moving into an animated, or reworked since its announcement, and some discussions are about becoming animated instead. So it sounds like whenever they announced this back when Gunn did his Gods and Monsters panel, that the Authority is not going to be the same idea later on. So I don't think you're upset about that. I'm going to use because you don't know who the Authority is. If I told you who it was, I don't think you're going to be upset that it became an animated project instead of a live action project, are you?
Yeah, I mean,
you have no weightness.
This kind of falls under Gunn's and Safran's rule of just like, we ain't saying anything until there's a script. Yeah. So sounds like there's definitely not a script.
Yeah, the only thing they've said is that, yes, we're going to do the Authority. And the Authority, it's great because technically it's Superman and the Authority with some comic books. Like, they're super powered people. Kind of like, I would say not like the Seven, less public, but like their unique powers. They're like kind of like a Black Ops, Wetworks team kind of thing. They'll go above and beyond. A couple of them will appear in the Superman movie, right? The Engineer, we know, is coming in there. There may be more. So they might be one of these things where it's like, oh, we can't keep doing this movie with a bunch of superpowered people and nobody cares. Maybe we just animate it, because the success of the Creature Commandos being an animated group of super people, they could do as much as they want, right? And they could actually give us the same backstory in an animated project without doing this. So the only things we do know right now is Supergirl is filming, Lanterns is filming, and Clayface is on the horizon looking for a director. So definitely don't think the Authority is going to be anything this year. Moving into the last bit of news here, Blue Beetle. Remember that movie came out 23?
Yeah, I think I remember liking it. It's been so long, and I felt like it came and went. I'm trying to remember my opinion.
Yeah. George Lopez said Batman's a fascist.
Yeah. I think I was positive overall.
Yeah, nothing. It's an isolated movie, right? The end of the DCU, EU versus the start of the DCU, very isolated. I don't think it was bad. I enjoyed it. Other than a palette swapped villain kind of at the end. But they talked about 2 years ago, an animated series is being worked on by the director and producers, writers of the movie, and the actor has been out and about saying that that the animated series is being worked on this year and will debut in 2026. So I believe though it's probably been retooled. It may be a soft reboot on the animated series and bring the movie into the DCU proper, the Blue Beetle character and such. So I think, like I said, my note here literally says pretty disconnected from the DCEU at large, they could easily bring this in to James Gunn's universe, and I think it would fit right in. It's kind of weird, kind of wacky, kind of spacey, right? So space beetle alien attached to him. I think it fits right in with everything else kind of going on. At the end of the day.
I think so too.
So, love to see that. Mike, we had a lot more news than we expected to. We were going to do Skeleton Crew this week, but I think as you said at the beginning of the show, Mike, what are we going to do with this review?
We're gonna punt it, just like I'm sure you'll see many times in the Super Bowl. See, we brought it back around to sports. Like I said at the top of the show, we love football, and football.
That's right.
So we
ball.
want to start the show with that and end the show with punting Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Yet another week. Maybe this will just be an ongoing bet. Let's just keep punting Skeleton Crew until there's
Season
like a
2?
second season or something.
Or until I show up in the Dave Filoni's movie. Not the Mandalorian and Grogu, the other one that he's going to be doing eventually. But I think we've run out of time here. We had some good news. We didn't know what the news was going to be this week, so I think it turned out great. Doing this before the Super Bowl, so I got to get upstairs. Got to get that stuff heated. You got to have. I don't want hungry people at my Super Bowl watch party, Mike. We gotta have them fed because I don't want to be up there making things while the trailers are playing. All right, I'm not missing commercials. But if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at, buddy?
Yeah, you can read my webcomics at liferewardsrisk.com and pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to find you besides in your basement, where can they find you?
Yeah, find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or video game systems of the same name. I will have NFL Blitz arcade version playing in the background while the Super Bowl's going. We're going all out for football games this year. If people want to know more about the show, where they can come see these show notes where all these images and links are, because I backloaded this with links at the end, where can they get all them goodies at?
Oh, all you got to do is head on over to superheroslate.com. We're not going to have a Super Bowl commercial to tell you to do that, so you're just going to have to listen to us here directly from the source, superheroslate.com. Check out all these show notes, our upcoming release calendar, and we love hearing from you. And I'm out of order here. This is where I'm supposed to tell you. This is what happens when I try to pivot the show to sports.
Yeah.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you'd love to listen to podcasts. We got merch at superheroslate.com/store. Blah blah blah. Something about football. If you want to be a super fan
get
of
a jersey.
this show,
get a jersey. You can wear a jersey with our number on it.
Yeah. All you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be back next week and see if we can remember what happens during these commercial breaks.
That's right. We're gonna get a shared note going for this one, I feel.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.